start.
Yes, we can start.
Action.
All right, so we did that stuff on the posterior. We did the trapezius and everything that's in the lamina groove, and we did the levator scapula, right? So all that stuff's kind of posterior. We're gonna move a little bit more anterior now. And the first thing we're gonna do on the more anterior part of the neck is the SCM, because it's the most superficial. It's the easiest to get to. And so this is a good place for us to all start with this sort of thing. Now, when you get in here, now, even though this is the most superficial one, we still want to start being cautious and just aware of the location, right? Because we are very close to the trachea, I can very easily give my client like a choking sensation if I'm not careful, right? And so I want to make sure, like a lot of people have issues, like nobody likes to feel like they're being choked, number one, right? But then there's definitely some people in a population who have trauma around choking, and we definitely don't want to trigger that as we're doing this, right? So we want to make sure we're very careful and aware, and we're communicating with our client about being in this area. So it might be good to ask your client before you even get started if they have any issues with you touching the front of their neck, right? And let them know, hey, there's some muscles in the front of the neck that we can work that could benefit you, but I just want to make sure that you're cool if you do that first, right? Just to make sure that they're cool with that. Are you cool with that if we get in here and work on you in here?
Can we choke you?
We're not going to choke her. We're not going to choke her. But what we are going to do here is we're going to find the borders of the SCM. And so the first border you want to find is kind of the medial border up front here. So you're going to kind of get your thumb in the medial side here and start to find that medial edge there. And then on the posterior side, you're going to take not your fingertip, but this whole side of your knuckle and come over here on the posterior, all the way on the posterior. And so so you can see the edge of the muscle here. I'm even going back behind the edge of the muscle there to wrap around, and then I'm wrapping around to the front this way. And the reason for that is if I anchor my thumb here, my posterior finger is very posterior. It's super posterior. But as it comes anterior, see how it kind of will feed that muscle into my thumb. And that's why I want to start super posterior, right? So start way posterior, and then glide anterior until you're hooked on that muscle, and then just bring that muscle forward with you. And you're just going to lift that muscle up off the body. So we're doing a little bit of a sifting. How are we doing there, Kim?
Okay.
Doing okay?
Sure.
Pressure okay?
My legs are just.
Your leg is
I
itchy?
had a lot of coffee, so my legs just want to move.
Yeah,
Oh, you got the coffee thing going on. All right. So the coffee, she's got a coffee buzz. Her legs are buzzing on coffee. So we're just going to take this stroke and move it down and just pull on the SCM and just do some gentle kind of like that pulling sensation, that taffy pulling sensation. And then also if we find something we want to friction, you can friction there too, right? But mostly you're emphasizing just this pulling sensation right here. Okay, so that's the first bit, just kind of working the SCM all along that way. Okay, so from that mastoid process all the way down here to the sternoclavicular joint, that area. Okay, so then once we've done the SCM, now you'll find stuff in here. Like your client maybe has some headaches that's in here, right? You might have found some headaches and stuff in the suboccipitals when you did your friction here, right? That's a place for a lot of little headaches to kind of pop up. So you can do your client, if they come in and they're like, oh, I got headaches, then you definitely want to hit their suboccipitals, you definitely want to hit their SCM, and even some of their scalenes will have some headaches. And then sometimes even their jaw, we'll want to work their jaw up here, which actually I need to work in a head massage class. I need to think about that. Maybe our next one will be that. Because we got to do a bunch of stuff up here for the jaw and that kind of stuff too. Maybe we can do the side posture at the same as this one. So anyway, you're going to come over here. So that was the SCM portion. And we're going to come over here. Remember how we palpated up under the clavicle here to find those scalenes, right? So anterior scalene being here, middle scalene being kind of right about here, and then the posterior scalene being in this area. So what you're going to do is you're going to find that anterior scalene first, and then you can kind of follow it up to where it attaches. Remember your palpation notes from earlier, right? So find that little attachment, and then you're going to glide back downward very gently down that muscle. So a nice little stretch there. You're doing okay there, Kim? Just itchy?
Yeah.
I just feel you squirming and it makes me nervous. I'm like, wait,
No,
she's
yeah,
not
that's
squirming.
Smack her leg.
No, I just have
It's
like
just
a
your
lot
leg.
of
I just have to
energy.
remind myself your leg is doing caffeine
No more
things.
coffee for you in the morning.
Yeah. or whatever extra octane you got there. Low octane coffee for you.
Like a kid.
So once you get down here under the clavicle, kind of touching the rib, you'll just do just some gentle friction right there, right? Just some transverse friction across the fiber. You can also glide back up towards that transverse process, right there, like so. And then middle scaling, same sort of issue or same sort of deal. Find that attachment underneath, and you can kind of glide upward away from it. You can also glide downward towards it. Also, here's a cool thing. I can have my client take a nice deep breath for me and hold your breath. And I'll feel that muscle contract and release and relax. And I'll feel it relax. So if there's like a trigger point or something like here, like they're getting a referral, sometimes it might go down their arm, sometimes it might go up to their head. You can just sit here and with your compression protocol, take a nice deep breath again for me. And back out and relax. Right, so that's definitely something that you can add into there as an active engagement for that muscle. Right, these muscles do help with breathing. And then the posterior scaling is the most lateral one here, and you're going to come out and you follow it up and back down again also, using your little very slow sort of deep tissue pace there. And I can have her breathe here too. Take a nice deep breath in. Now you can feel that breath. That's one of the ways I know I'm on the scaling. So if you have doubts, just have your client take a deep breath for me and back out. And if it pulls out, I should have told you guys that for the palpation component, but there it is now. All right, so there's that. Now the last little bit I'm going to give you for the scalings is actually pretty cool. So I'm going to pin right here, have my client kind of be in the middle. Now whatever scaling I think is having, where I feel, okay, this scaling really is kind of tight right here. So I'm just going to pin right here and have my client just rotate your head all the way to the left for me. Then I'll feel that stretch on the right. Okay, and then now slowly rotate your head all the way to the right. And I'll feel that stretch on the left here. Good. Is that as far as you can go? See as far, yeah, there you go. And then back to the other way. So I can get some active movement, active engagement with stretching. Almost like a pin and stretch here. And then just keep going side to side for me. So this is a really gentle way. I'm just basically putting a compression on there. And so, okay, go ahead and pause there for me. So that's great. So a lot of times I'll just do that, and sometimes with scalings, you know, I've probably showed this to some of you guys as well. This is a good opening. Maybe you can start out this way, as to come in here and just use your knuckles. And just this very soft use of my knuckles here. I'm just kind of letting them be the shape of this area in here. I'm not really letting them be flat. I'm not trying to make it be super flat here because that's going to be too big for this area, right? So I'm just kind of like whatever fits in there, 1 or 2 knuckles, that's what I'm going to use, like that, and then like that. So that can be a good opening for this area when you get into here. If you want to start with something like that, then sifting your SCM, and then your specific gliding strokes with friction and breathing, and then compression with movement. Okay? Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do it. And I'll write the little note.